Hello, my name is Steve Johannesson, and welcome to the K2000 training video. This video is designed to get you started with the K2000 quickly. We're going to show you the basic operation and setup of the instrument. The K2000 represents the most powerful synthesizer technology ever created. This video manual is evidence of Kurzweil's commitment to you. It is intended as a supplement to your printed owner's manual. We recommend that you refer to the printed manual for more detailed information. Before we begin our presentation of the K2000, it will be necessary for you to load the file video into your instrument. To do this, remove the 3.5-inch disc from the plastic packet which contains the printed owner's manual. Make sure the disc has a plastic tab in the down position with the window open to prevent accidentally erasing the disc. Place the disc face up in the floppy drive on the left of the instrument. Press the button on the front panel marked Disk. Press the soft button under the word Load. The K2000 will automatically check to see if the floppy is a 740K 1.44 megabyte or a Chi disk before showing you the directory. Locate the alpha wheel found on the right of the control panel and rotate it to the right until you see Video highlighted on the dark blue bar. Press the soft button under OK. Next, rotate the alpha wheel to the right until you see 900 through 999 highlighted in the dark blue bar and press the button under OK. Now you're ready to learn about your K2000. Now press the Program button to return to program mode. Let's define some general terms. The K2000 stores all user programmable information as objects. There are many different types of objects, including programs, setups, quick access banks, effects, songs, and others. A program includes all the parameters that make up a voice or patch. A setup is a preset arrangement of up to 3 programs mapped across the keyboard, sometimes referred to as a performance or combination by other manufacturers. A quick access bank contains 10 programs or setups in any combination. An effect program is a snapshot of the multi-effect settings. A song is a standard MIDI sequence file that can be loaded into the user RAM memory of the K2000. Let's take a few moments to familiarize yourself with the back panel of the K2000. On the left is the on-off switch, AC receptacle, and battery cover, which allows you easy access to the internal batteries which back up user-created programs. The voltage selector allows the K2000 to operate in different countries around the world without the need for an external power transformer. The back panel connectors are clearly labeled for easy identification. Continuing to the right, we see the headphone input for use with standard 600 ohm headphones. To the right of the headphone input are the mix outputs, or stereo master outs. Next to the mix outs are the 4 separate outs. A left and right and B left and right can be used as 4 separate outs or 2 stereo pairs. The separate outs can also serve as insert points. Now the advantage to this is you can take a sound that you want to isolate from the stereo mix, bring it out, send it through the ring tip sleeve configuration in the jacks to an external effects processor or equalization unit. Send it back into the unit and then send it back through the stereo pair. This allows greater flexibility when programming multi-sequences and when using the instrument in a multi-timbral mode. To the right of the output groups are the foot switch controller inputs. The default for foot switch 1 is sustain, for foot switch 2, sostenuto. The control pedal's default is MIDI control number 4, foot controller. The foot switches and control pedal are completely programmable. Other real-time controllers will be discussed when we talk about Section 2, the front panel. The right of the back panel contains the media connectors for interfacing with MIDI devices, external hard drives, and CD-ROM via the SCSI connector. The 2000 here also shows the optional sampling board, discussed later in Section 11, Optional Support, and it features quarter-inch stereo analog input for user sampling from line-level sources such as keyboards and guitars. To the right of the analog input are the digital ends which support SPDIF, RCA jack, an optical connector, and AES EBU connector. These are provided for digital transfer from DAT recorders, CD players, or other samplers. One last reminder, the sampling board is an option, and it can be purchased from your Kurzweil dealer. It must be installed inside your K2000. This section will tour the front panel and explore the user interface. Many years of research went into designing the interface so you can get the most out of your instrument in as little time possible. Let's look at the control panel from left to right. You will notice there are two standard wheels. The left wheel always sends MIDI pitch bend information. The right wheel is programmable, and its default is MIDI Control 1 or mod wheel. Next to the wheels are two sliders, volume, which controls the volume of the mix-outs only, and controller, which can be assigned to control any function such as changing MIDI volume, sweeping a filter's cutoff, or crossfading between two sounds, and of course many other things. Its default is MIDI Control 6 data. To the right of the sliders are a group of 8 buttons which define the various modes of operation in the K2000. Look at the information found on the front panel. The titles in white highlight the 8 operating modes. Green titles apply when editing any of these modes. Let's give a brief description of each of these 8 modes and 8 editing functions. Program mode, or mute 1. Press the upper left-hand button marked Program. This is the main operating mode for the K2000. In program mode, you select programs. To the right of the program button is an LED which will illuminate, confirming the K2000 is in program mode. There are 3 ways you can select a program: by rotating the alpha wheel to scroll, press the plus or minus, decrement or increment buttons, or enter the program number on the alphanumeric keypad located on the right of the control panel. Press the Enter button to initiate your selection. It's not necessary to press Enter if you're selecting programs scrolling with the alpha wheel or the plus or minus buttons. A program contains up to 3 layers. A layer contains a key map, the samples as they're arranged on the keyboard, and all the associated parameter settings. These layers can overlap or be split. The programs are arranged in banks of 100 programs, where Bank 0 contains programs 1 to 99, Bank 1 contains 100 to 99, and so on. Any bank of programs can be saved and loaded into any other bank. Programs will be more thoroughly discussed in Section 5, Creating Programs, and storage will be covered later in Section 3, Disk Operations. When you're editing a program on the K2000, this button will be used for muting Layer 1 in a particular program. Setup mode, Mute 2 button. Next, we'll look at the setup mode. We can define a setup as a kind of super programming, allowing for 3 different programs to be layered, split, or overlap. Remember, programs can have up to 3 layers. In setup mode, up to 9 layers can be arranged across the keyboard in any location you choose. We'll look closer at setups in Section 6, Setup mode. When editing a program on the K2000, this button will be used for muting Layer 2 in a particular program. Next, let's look at Quick Access mode. Quick Access Mode is designed to aid in live performance and offer flexibility to the session musician. Quick Access banks are provided to help you organize your sounds, saving your favorite programs and setups as an organized group. A bank can contain 10 programs or setups in any combination. When you select a bank, all 10 programs and setups will be visible in the display for immediate selection. The K2000 comes shipped with a few template banks. We'll see how to create your own banks later in Section 7, Quick Access Mode. When editing a program on the K2000, this button will be used for muting Layer 3 in a particular program. Next, the bottom left button in this group is called the Effects button, or Effects Bypass. We refer to effects as meaning reverb, delay, chorus, etc. The K2000 has a powerful multi-effects processor, allowing you to chain up to 4 effects simultaneously. We have provided you with factory effect programs which you can edit to create your own effect programs. Because the effect processor is global and applies to all sounds, we felt it was important to allow you a way of directly accessing the effects processor. You can quickly adjust your wet-dry mix, edit and change the effects program, or allow the K2000 to ignore effects which were part of a particular program in favor of a master setting which will not change as you change programs. We will get into the effects processor in Section 8, Editing an Effect. When editing a K2000 program, this button will allow you to bypass any effects which were present. MIDI mode, or previous page. In this mode, you will find all parameters regarding MIDI operation, including selecting Omni, Poly, and Multi-mode, assigning programs to MIDI channels, and MIDI controller send and receive information. More details will follow in Section 9, MIDI operations. When editing a program on the K2000, this button will allow you to return to the previous page you had been looking at. This can be very handy when going back and forth between 2 pages, like envelope and amplitude. Next, we come to the Master mode, or Mark button. Under the Master mode, you will find all those parameters which apply to the entire instrument, like global transpose and global intonation tables. More on master parameters later in Section 10, Master Operations. When editing a K2000 program, this button will be used for marking particular pages which you will want to use often. You can set up a kind of a shortcut way of cycling through only those pages which are important to you. The button underneath Master is the Song button, the Song mode or Jump button. The K2000 can play back Type 0 standard MIDI sequence files. These can be loaded into your user memory and played back from the K2000. Further, these sequences can be saved to the instrument's internal floppy, optional external SCSI hard drive, or optional internal hard drive. This feature allows you to use the K2000 in place of your computer as a play-only sequencer. We have loaded some demo songs in from the factory which you can listen to. More about Song mode later in Section 4, Song mode. When editing a program, this button will be used for jumping to particular pages, which you had previously marked with the Mark button. Disk mode, or Compare. Disk mode deals with all storage media. You will select this mode when you wish to name, save, or load samples, programs, etc. to or from the K2000's floppy drive. This mode also allows you to access optional external SCSI drives, a CD-ROM drive, or an optional internal hard drive. We will be covering this mode in greater detail in Section 3, Disk Operation. When editing a program, this button will be used to compare the edited program with the original. Let's continue the front panel tour. Over to the right of the 8 mode buttons are 2 buttons, one with an up and one with a down arrow. These perform a variety of functions. For example, when the K2000 is in program mode, use these buttons to scroll through the MIDI channels. When you're editing a program, use these buttons to scroll through the layers in that program. When editing a setup, these buttons will be used to scroll through 3 zones. When the instrument is in quick access mode, these buttons are used to select banks. Finally, these buttons are used when you're on the channel page in MIDI mode to scroll through the MIDI channels and view the assigned programs and parameters. Directly beneath the channel bank buttons is the Edit button. This button takes the K2000 from the normal play state into the edit state. This button is used to edit programs, setups, quick access banks, effects, as well as MIDI, master, and song parameters. There are 6 soft touch buttons underneath the generous 240 by 64 display. These are used to select the various pages which you will use when editing the K2000. These buttons are used often, as you will see in Section 5, Creating Programs. To the right of the display are the cursor buttons, which perform a number of functions, primarily allowing you to navigate around the information shown in the display. Below the cursor is the exit button, which allows you to exit the edit mode. The rest of the control panel is devoted to data entry. To the right of the cursor buttons is the alpha wheel and decrement increment buttons. These are used for changing values or scrolling through programs, setups, quick access banks, or to select files from the disk directory. Finally, on the far right of the control panel is the alphanumeric keypad used when naming programs, banks, etc., or entering specific numbered values. You will appreciate how easy this keypad makes naming things. Directly under the buttons labeled 1 through 9 are 3 buttons side by side, labeled minus plus, 0, and clear respectively. Under these buttons you'll see subtext labeling the same buttons as upper lower, 0 through 9, and space. The button labeled minus plus is used when you've entered a numeric value and you want to switch it from a positive value to a negative value, and vice versa. When you're naming a file, program, setup, etc., this button toggles between uppercase and lowercase letters. The button marked 0 will enter a value of 0 when programming. When naming, this button allows you to scroll through numbers 0 through 9. The button marked clear is used to clear a particular numeric value and reset the parameter to its lowest value. When naming, this button erases the letter or number over the cursor and leaves a blank space. Right underneath these buttons are 2 buttons found side by side marked Enter and Cancel, respectively. It will not be necessary to press the Enter button when you're editing a program, setup, or quick access map. You will have to press Enter after entering a program number on the alphanumeric keypad to confirm your choice. The Cancel button will act as an undo or clear button when you just change your mind about a particular program or setup number you've just typed in, provided you haven't pressed the Enter button yet. This concludes the front panel tour. Now, let's get into more specifics.
What I'm going to talk to you about today is the DOS file system built into the K2000. The disk drive is a high-density 1.44 megabyte floppy, and the file system is directly compatible with MS-DOS computers. This means that you can take the files that are created on the K2000 and look at them on your DOS machine. 2 of the possible applications of this would be to have an editor librarian that directly could manipulate the files that were created on the K2000, and the direct transmission of K2000 files over a modem, say to a bulletin board system, or perhaps to your friend across the country or even around the world.
The disk system in the K2000 is MS-DOS based using 3.5-inch high-density or double-density diskettes. If you name your programs using only 8 uppercase letters or numbers, you will be able to read these disks in an IBM-compatible computer and copy or erase these files in your computer. Now this is important. If you choose to use lowercase letters or punctuation, you may destroy your files trying to look at them in an IBM clone. Be sure to have some blank disks on hand at all times to back up your work. Now let's take a closer look at the disk mode. Remove your factory disk from the floppy drive and slide the left tab up, closing the window. This now enables you to write to the disk. Insert the disk back into the drive and press the disk button. The display will show you 6 options: load, save, sleep, rename, delete, and format. which you can select by pressing one of the soft buttons found directly beneath each option. The sleep button allows you to turn off SCSI devices provided the drive manufacturer incorporates this option. We will recommend several drives at the end of this video in Section 11, Options and Support. Let's discuss how data is stored in the K2000. Think of a series of folders, where each folder contains one type of object. For example, Folder 1 contains all programs, Folder 2 contains all setups, and so on. Each folder uses the same numbering scheme, 0 through 999. These folders are all grouped together to form a bank. The first two bank numbers, 0 and 1, are reserved for factory ROM-based objects. The next 8 banks, numbers 2 through 9, are reserved for user-created objects. When you save a bank, all objects in that bank will be saved. When loading, the same is true. Remember we instructed you to load a disk file titled Video into the K2000 at the very beginning of this video? Now, let's save the bank of programs which you originally loaded into the 900s bank back to your floppy disk. Press the Save button, and the display asks you to Save As, allowing you the option of naming your file. The middle two buttons move the cursor from left to right. Let's use the alpha wheel to change characters. Let's name this file Kurz2000, K-U-R-Z 2000. Press the soft button under the right arrow button to move the cursor to the right. Now let's finish naming the file. Notice you are restricted to 8 uppercase letters conforming to the DOS format. If you wish to insert or delete a letter, number, or symbol, press the button above the appropriate instruction in the display. When you are finished naming your file, press the button under OK. Rotate the alpha wheel to the right until you see 900 through 999. Once again, press the button under OK. The display will prompt, "Please wait." When saving is done, the display will return to the main screen, showing your 6 options. To confirm you have saved the file, press the button under Load, and then rotate the alpha wheel to the right until you see the file Kurz2000 in the highlighted blue box. Press Cancel, and then Exit to leave the disk mode, and return to the program mode. Any programs, setups, or quick access banks, as well as user-created multi-effects programs and demo songs will also be saved to disk. To format a disk, place a blank disk or one you wish to erase in the drive after you have write-enabled it. The tab should be in the up position, window closed. Warning: make sure you don't format your factory disk or you will erase it permanently. This is important. Press the disk button. Press the soft button under Format. Respond to the question, "Format this disk?" by pressing the soft button under the Yes response. Once again, respond Yes to the question asking Continue. Press the Yes button once again when the display asks a final time, "Are you really sure?" The display will allow you to select whether the disk should be formatted as a 720K or 1.44 megabyte disk. We will select 1.44 megabyte as we are using a high-density diskette. When formatting is done, the display will return to its previous state, showing your options. Press the Song button and look at the display. Notice you can highlight songs and scroll through the various titles, or program where you can adjust the current playing keyboard. Great for accompanying sequences live. The bottom row of buttons work like a tape recorder, offering record, play, stop, and delete. Press play when you selected the song you wish to hear, and that song will begin playing. Press stop to stop the song, and delete if you wish to permanently erase that song. Consult your owner's manual to learn how to convert Type 0 MIDI file sequences and load them into the K2000 for playing back. To exit this mode, press the Exit button and return to program mode. Now, take a few minutes to listen to the factory-created demos.
Hi, I'm John Teal, one of the engineers on the K2000. I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of the convenience features that the K2000 provides. Don't be afraid to play the K2000 from within one of its editors. K2000 provides a lot of ways to get around the instrument. One very powerful feature is the previous page button. When you're in one of the editors, pressing the previous page button will bring you back to the last page you were on. It actually remembers the last 4 pages you were on, so pressing it repeatedly will bring you to each of those 4 pages. Another powerful feature in the K2000 are the jump and mark buttons. These allow you to mark certain pages in an editor, and then by using the jump button, jump between those marked pages. It allows you to mark any number of pages in the editor. If you want, you can mark all the pages.
Let's take a quick look at the display. Notice the highlighted choices at the bottom of the display. The octave minus and octave plus allow you to quickly transpose, as you can see in the upper middle portion of the LCD. The panic button allows you to send the all notes off command to external devices. The view button resizes the program name. There are 2 modes, large and small. The display allows 6 programs to be visible at the same time and are shown in smaller type. The channel minus and channel plus buttons allow you to change the MIDI channel you're on. Also in this mode, to the left of the program names, is a large drop shadow rectangle showing you how many layers are in this program, the key map number, and name. The top illuminated bar shows you that you are in program mode, whether or not the program has been transposed, and the MIDI channel you are on. The display will appear the same in setup mode, except that MIDI and program information will be displayed in the drop shadow box instead of the key map and program names. In quick access, the view button just resizes the program or setup selected. Before we begin basic programming, we're going to disable the effects so you can hear the quality of the sound and filters clearly. To disable your effects, press the Effects button. Press your down cursor to illuminate the wet-dry percentage. Press the 0 button on the keypad and press Enter.